mountains upon mountains of appeals from the people. How many days will this take to sort?
After all the trouble you took to flee politics. And somehow you're now the preeminent ladyship of your house. Such is fate.
Despite everything, this year has passed in surprising peace, hasn't it? Honestly, with the royal scepter disappearing like that, I feared more dissent.
Perhaps after Luis, they swore they could never let that happen again. Either way, more and more are dealing with conflicts calmly and openly. Promising.
It promises that I'll have an eternally cluttered desk.
Here, Your Majesty. I've brought in the next load. And there we go. Not half bad, right? Hey, isn't the king supposed to be here?
I'm out buying bread,
I've
apparently.
said countless times not to leave unannounced.
I didn't listen.
All this decoration doesn't suit me. How did Luis and Forden put up with all this damn finery? Your Majesty? Are you here? Juna's back from her inspection.
Apologies, Troll. I'll look for him
Oh,
now.
look at her witch hat!
I'm coming with you.
Oh, good grief. Some things never change. Not that they should.
I'd say life has changed plenty for us. Yet somehow our captain's same as he ever was.
Still not the end.
Well,
Oh my
I might have got a
god.
bit too fresh with them stuck-up sanctists. But those bloody church folk been looking down on us for years, you know? Still, it was other sanctists what stepped in to keep things peaceable too. I reckon they're not all bad. Guess me cogs turning. They lost both their Santifex and the Saint Lady last year. Got their own struggles, I expect.
As authority weakens, power falls to the hands of those who have never wielded it. We must ensure it does not corrupt and give rise to new conflict.
Not like it excuses all of them or makes me want to go up and shake a sanctor's hand, but you really put some perspective on it.
It was good talking to you, good drunk sir.
It was good talking to you, too.
You know what, lad? You're all right. You ever need some good, honest work? I'll get you squared, eh?
Thank you. I'm glad to see more optimism in the world. Still, it will take more than that to effect true change.
I should have known you'd be wandering around without your escorts again. How is it, being able to hear the city's honest thoughts? If you told them you're the king, it'd knock them sideways. Sorry you ended up coming all this way. Maria's actually out on an errand right now.
That's too bad.
I see. That's too bad.
Are you that disappointed? She's a lucky one for such company. Either way, just keep your head down. You know what happens when you're too obvious about this. Sooner or later, the Lady Captain of the Royal Guard...
Oh, there you are. I knew we'd find you here, for crying out loud.
Phew. So you were here.
Hi.
Speak of the devil.
Let us return, Your Majesty. And I thought I had informed you that Juno would be back from her expedition today.
I'll go back
I
soon.
have a few stops left in the city, though.
You do know I practically sprinted out the gates to find you. 'Tis settled. I shall come with you on every excursion.
Not dressed like that, you won't. You know how we like snooping around, inconspicuously.
Point taken.
He'll be fine. His Majesty is not about to fall prey to some alleyway scoundrel, surely. Right, Your Majesty. If you see Maria about, do slow down for a chat. She'll be shattered if she finds out she just missed you.
Fine. Now, Your Majesty, once your business here is finished, please make sure you return to the palace with all swiftness.
All right.
Oh, Maria, where are you?
Let's go.
This reminds me of the first time Maria went missing. It seems so long ago now. She might be praying in the Grand Cathedral, just like back then. But we're heading for the Grand Cathedral. Why not go talk to everyone else first? They're all in the royal capital to prepare for the new year. So let's find them.
Hey?
Oh, okay.
Come now.
When you finish your business outside the palace, please promise me you'll return to resume your duties, Your Majesty. If you take this as my pressuring you to not venture out, that's not it at all. Only that as captain of the Royal Guard, I must know your whereabouts at all times. Relax, Hulkenberg. You need be so serious. Lighten up, baby. You mean to say I am too fussy? Well, 'tis only proper for the captain of the Royal Guard. To be over-familiar would set a poor example. Imagine the scandalized faces of the rank-and-file guard.
Of course.
That said, not a day goes by that I don't reflect on our travels. Now only a year past. I owe regaining my pride as a knight to that journey. I was but a wanderer, searching in vain for the prince, and it was through you I learned he yet lived. And in the end, it was your ascent to the throne I supported. I never tire of the faces the younger guards make when I tell them of the time you acted as witness to my duel. Ah, Rodin. Yes, thanks to you, I was able to face him with eyes forward and put my past behind me. I'm pleased to say the knights of today are nothing like what they were under Rodin's command. Soldiers take up their sword not for those in power, but for the people. And as the champion of the people yourself, we will do all in our power to protect you, our king. You do not make it easy by sneaking out of the palace, as you do, though I suspect the soldiers are getting used to your chaotic tendencies. They know they protect not just a king, but a ruler who stands beside his people and hears their voices in clarion truth.
This I vow.
I will protect you with my life, as I have always endeavored to do, Your Majesty. Only let me stay by your side to do so.
What do you want to do?
There's still other people we can talk to, but did you want to go see Maria now? Okay. Is anyone in the Hushed Honeybee also, oh my god, these conversations are going to take forever. We might actually be here for another hour just talking to people.
Hey?
Is it everyone? Oh, they're not going to let me open the follower menu.
All right, then. You're not serious.
All right, well. Oh, hey, Alonso.
Pleasure to see you.
Why, hello, Your Majesty. It's only been a year since your coronation, but I see you've become quite apt at sneaking away from your palatial duties. Under constant fire from knaves of all trades, con artists, and critics alike, your opening act has been rather tumultuous, no? I had noticed. Oh, has it? I hadn't noticed. How kingly an answer. Never missing an opportunity to display how capable you are. Commendable. Besides, most of those agitators are the kind of scum that stirs the pot in hopes that they might benefit from the country's turmoil. Nothing I couldn't handle, of course. All in a day's work for the royal adjutant to the Citizens' Council. Quite an ally I've made, I should hope.
Hey.
I wonder if my mother would be the slightest bit proud to see who I've become. That I'm doing my darndest to use my talents for good, as I always should have. I'm sure she would. There's no doubt.
Yes.
I hope so. I was such a problem child. I'd like to make this a country where honest folk like my mother can be happy.
Now that you mention it.
And that reminds me, do you remember Deturum? I forget how you say his name. My hometown's landowner? He told me to send his regards. He's since confessed his crimes and is awaiting trial. You were the one who awakened his conscience. It makes sense, doesn't it? You've proven your ideals to be true. That's why this country is doing so well. There's nothing more to it. I'm hardly qualified to speak with pride, but if this country has one, it's you. And I am proud to be among its people. Perhaps under your rule, the day will come that even we Nydia can walk about freely in our true forms. I hope so. I want to see your true form. I bet it's adorable. Ah, you're curious what I look like in my true form? I so am. I'd be happy to oblige, but let's save that for another time, shall we? No, I want to know. Let this be a 2 for conversation.
Oh.
Well, well, I see our king is out on some personal business, eh? I believe Hulkenberg was searching for you. But I suppose it's none of my business who comes or goes. I'm on break myself. Only, try not to frustrate your royal guards over much. They all take their duties quite seriously, much like their captain. Ah, who am I kidding? A knight who smiles is surely a myth. That's become clear to me since becoming titled. What could be more bizarre? A Ujiv outcast, once a wanted criminal with a bounty on his head, made knight commander. There was, of course, some opposition at first, but the more heart-to-heart talks I've had, the more accepting they've become, albeit gradually. An outcast became king, too. They needn't look further than the outcast who became their king.
True.
Indeed. You face no shortage of persecution, and look at you now. Grand titles and posts across the nation are no different, spread across all the tribes. I've realized over the past year just how much a nation is defined by its people. No matter how great a king, he alone does not a country make.
However,
Yet he stands for those very people as symbol and representative. That the king and those around him are of mixed tribes, it has already caused a great shift in sentiment, even for those in the rural villages. House Tadari.
Now that you mention it.
yes.
He seems as busy as he can handle, now that they've resumed trade with other villages. Their coronation inspired that village to greater heights. It proved that barriers can be broken, and that even they could take the first step. New winds are blowing in every corner of this country. I'll have to make another trip back home with my son to see the changes for myself soon enough. And someday, I hope distant generations will grow up only knowing conflict born of tribal differences from history books.
We shall.
We have a ways to go before that day comes, but until it does, let us forge the path forward toward it, Your Majesty.
Yo.
Hey, out inspecting again? Seems a right pain to me, but I appreciate you going to all the effort. Making the rounds, Basilio.
Hey.
Yeah, captain of the Tradian Brigade, reporting in, and I'm pleased to report that there's nothing to report, Your Majesty, so I'm taking a break. Bit of a mouthful, innit? Still not used to calling myself a captain, besides. We've even taken in some survivors from Louise's troops, you know? But don't you worry, I've got 2 eyes on them, even when I ain't looking.
But
The way I see it, they weren't the ones trying to make the world worse. I just gotta show him how power is supposed to be used, yeah? We owe it to you that there's less discrimination in the city these days. Fewer and fewer are turning to a life of crime to make ends meet. If Del could see Grand Trad today, his eyes would bug out. And not just Del, a lot of the guys who didn't make it. I wish they could have seen.
yeah.
Yeah, same. As long as we keep him in our memory, it's as close to saving him as we can get, Vinka included. We built this peace with a lot of blood and tears, so I say those of us who made it this far owe it to all of them what didn't to protect it. Maybe I've got nothing to report today, but it's not like bad people just stopped being bad because you're king now.
Thank you.
You've been through a lot, though, so thanks for not giving up on us. Or the world, for that matter. You spot any trouble that I didn't spot first, you just point me at it. I'll solve it quick like.
This place has really changed.
Alright, it does not look like there are more people on this street. Let's go to the next street.
Thanks.
Oh, so many. Well, there's Juna.
My king.
Oh, there you are, Frey. I heard you were in town, so I decided to see if we might cross paths. I have so much to tell you about my inspection, so I'm afraid you'll need to clear your diary for me soon. Bring any souvenirs?
In that case.
Gosh.
Let's just focus on the reports. Don't worry, I'll give you just the gist. Firstly,
Well?
the Mage Academy's reconstruction is going swimmingly. Repairs are in full swing, and we're already processing admissions. I must say, I'm still surprised you appointed me, of all people, to be the Academy's headmistress. I was rather looking forward to going back on tour as a songstress. Oh, and shall I introduce you to my furry little friend? I scooped him up in the Academy of all places. Oh, it's the cat! The cat is alive! During the reconstruction, they stumbled upon the little guy in some kind of observatory, supposedly used by a king long ago. Not quite that long ago. Considering the igniter around his neck, I'm sure he was being taken care of. I mean, there's no way a cat could survive alone in that cold, could he?
So...
Regardless, our mysterious kitty is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the Academy. All that knowledge was lost when it fell, so we're starting from scratch. It may even be hiding secrets as big as the Dragon Temple or the Sanctum. Oh, and I'm keeping the cat. Feels like fate, you know?
Speaking of which...
And speaking of fate, on my way back, I met up with Myrtis. She's well, I
Now
trust.
we're talking.
Happy that you're not going back to songstress-ing, so she has less competition?
Yeah.
More than well. Her throat has been fine, and she's a fairly prominent singer about town now. We both just keep soaring to new heights. Her in music, and me coming face to face with magic again.
Hey!
Surely you remember music was the first magic born in the world, yes? When the heart expresses itself through music, it moves the hearts of others. And when they make hearts swell, why, there's no end to the magic. So just do watch. With music and magic at my side, I'm going to change the world. All will have equal opportunity to hone their talents at the Mage Academy. Our doors are open to all. That's what my sister would have wanted. And if it makes the world a better place, why, isn't that just grand?
Magic.
Rella taught me that magic is more than a tool. It's in all of us, deep in our hearts.
Dear me!
All right then.
There's still so many people.
All right.
Oh, what brings His Royal Majesty here? Come to feel the wind on your face too, have you?
Aha!
I know how it is. I've the fancy old title of Chief Engineer of the Kingdom Infrastructure Development Bureau. What a mouthful. And can research as I please now. But something's missing. So I threw off that stuffy old uniform and came to gaze upon the runner in the way I do. I know how you feel, good
About
sir.
that.
I feel like I know what you mean when you're saying something's missing.
Oh.
I knew you'd agree. I think my bones are aching to feel the wind. I rather miss the days of dashing hither and thither in the runner.
Perhaps.
Not that I'm ungrateful for the gracious title you've given to a man who used to skulk about modifying gauntlet runners. You haven't seen anything yet. Why, one day, I'll invent a teleportation device that will deliver fresh fish straight from Oceania to your palatial plates. It would change the world, wouldn't you say? I'm just a bit, stuck at the beginning on the development.
Indeed.
And it's times like this I need stimulation of the mind. You have anything that might do the trick? Do I smell another relic?
That's...
Don't pretend you didn't enjoy it. Every time you'd pop back in with one, I remember how I could hardly contain my excitement. I do so miss traveling like that. Even if the relics themselves were better off left untouched, they've become the guiding principles of my research, you know.
That's...
Convenience is important, but one must consider safety and the effects it might have on the world. An engineer who dumps a burden on future generations is no engineer at all.
However...
Still, it's no small feat to design with a perfect balance of safe and revolutionary. Even I struggle with that, and I'm a Bali genius. Bali? I don't remember how he said that. That's not really an Americanism. I don't really know what that means. Ah, I knew it. What I need is stimulation law. Your Majesty. You know, like the soul-shaking speed and quiver of a drive engine. You'll let me know if you ever want to go out for a spin, won't you? Our dear girl's sparkling clean and always ready for takeoff. Okay, well, good to know the gauntlet rudder is not, in fact, dead. Oh my god. We have so many things to do. Hey, Brigida. Hey, girl. The king himself out browsing the shops. Perhaps I need to draft up a royal certificate of appointment. Tell the world we supply goods to the royal family. Any recommendations? One igniter in particular, in fact, though I'm afraid we're all sold out at the moment. The igniter I made at the children's request, the one that lights up with rainbow colors, is selling startlingly well. The store was packed with families and children. I now hold a position where I control the distribution of all manner of goods throughout the kingdom as the head of the Igniter Consortium. I can't help but think that if I had been in this position sooner, then the church's violence, the tragedy of that village could have been prevented. It wasn't your fault.
But
There was nothing you could have done at that time, Brigida. I know that. I only rose to this position once you became king and shed light on what lurked in the shadows of this country. Though you can't take full credit, as it were, I was nominated for my new position by my colleagues. Our new king has changed this country for the better. However, as a former arms dealer, it would be naive to think all weapons can ever disappear from this world. It's all the more reason I hope that the reasons for people to wield them continue to decline. To that end, I'll continue doing all that I possibly can with all that I am, just as you do.
Speaking of,
Yes. Do you remember my dog? I found the ones who took her. Naturally, I considered ending their lives. But there she was, sitting beside. The dog is alive! The dog is alive! There is justice in this world. Beautiful moment. It's a happy ending. The dog lived. All that matters. Evidently, they could not bring themselves to harm such a sweet creature, so they decided to keep her instead. I had no choice but to spare their lives. I couldn't subject a gentle dog to the atrocities I'd commit in her name. You should come play with her sometime, though. I'm sure she remembers you. She got her dog back. Oh, that's so good. Good for her.
greetings.
Hey, Yufa. Working hard as ever. Were you going about town and listening to what the people have to say? Myself, I've just come from the Crown Court, where I've been consulting with the people about their grievances and disputes as Chief Magistrate. Our court, has time for that?
well,
Yes, of course.
In the past, we were busy with cases of violence and theft, but those have decreased remarkably.
In truth.
As you're undoubtedly aware, in the past, many citizens were sentenced to hang without so much as a trial. Yeah, there were kind of just gallows, just everywhere.
Alas,
I'm pleased to report things are different now. Anyone, regardless of race or status, can tell their side of the story in court and be judged equally and fairly. It just goes to show anything is possible, even for a priestess, to become a chief magistrate. And my brother is making great strides as village chief. He rather hated the role before, but he's truly found his calling, I think.
the reason is,
As I said, no one knows what the future holds. It's all the more reason I try to guide people to good choices. I want to live in a society that practices kindness, where those who suffer need not turn to crime. And so I practice what I
now
preach.
that you mention it,
The other day, I went to visit Ovi's church to inquire with those who are sick there, who are sick there, about how the kingdom can be more accessible to them. How is Ovi?
very well.
Yes, we practiced dancing together, and then we showed her mother. All of them are ready to ease into working again. Hearing them made me reflect on all the people who still need our help. Until now, the only hope those people had was God. I want to fight for them to have options under laws and systems that they can rely on in addition to higher power. A country where all the tribes with all their values can join hands in harmony. That's what we need. You aim to achieve that too, yes, Your Majesty? I hope you'll allow me to keep walking alongside you in this. Okay. Hey, Godot.
All right.
Are you surveying the city incognito, Your Majesty? Your escorts should be aghast. Not that I think anyone is truly capable of harming you. As you're aware, faith in the Sanctus Church plummeted after our misdeeds were exposed. I admit, we were arrogant and unjust, wicked in custom, the list goes on, but people have found salvation through the church as well, okay? We're not all bad. There is some sliver of good in us, I promise. I intend to restore the Sanctus Church to its true purpose, to offer salvation to those in need. As Sanctiarch, I think you just made up that name, title, and as someone who was saved by the Sanctus faith myself, that is all I can do to return the favor.
Keep you, child.
Here's the church Rella used to stay in. I heard Godot is here a lot, serving the people.
Keep you, child.
Can I, like, go into the pub that was down here? Who all do we still need to talk to? Okay, no, I can't go in here. Barden? Oh, it's you. Oh, no. Is that Your Majesty? What fortune to bump into you at the end of the year like this. If there's anything my humble personage may be able to do for you, Your Radiance, I am at your service. Say but one glorious word, and I shall most happily...
Honestly.
Okay, laying it on a little thick, aren't we? It's that forked tongue that got you in trouble last time. You hear me? One wrong move, and I'm turning you over to Basilio. You've got to turn your life around. Of course. I think we should still turn him into Basilio. Oh, you!
Hey!
What's the word, Your Majesty? Just one question, if I may. When are you gonna lower the booze prices in this country? I'm only codding ya. Haven't felt much like drinking till I blacked out so often anymore. After I entered the tournament, I really went through some stuff. I was acting a fool on the world stage, and to you too.
Yeah.
I'm grateful, you know. Can't speak for the rest of the country, but you've done right by us Parapus. We've got it better than we ever did. Some chuckleheads out there still try to take their aggression out on us, but they're just venting, probably. I'm sure you'll do something soon enough.
Ain't this a